Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. The sound of the sleigh bells tells us that we have yet another holiday release, and I will ruin it by saying it's really another good holiday release. My goodness, where are the holiday releases we can save money on? They're just not here yet, because today we're going to talk about the new release for the holidays from Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the new Anastasia Beverly Hills Primrose Palette. That's right, the Primrose Palette. I was speaking to many of you in comments about both the NARS and the Hourglass face palettes, and some were saying that they felt like it was lacking some of the shades they were looking for. And in comments to those few people, I said, how about the new Anastasia Beverly Hills face palette? And they said, what? Yes. So this kind of snuck under the radar, and I do want to bring it to your attention. It is $55, which I know is not cheap, but for high-end makeup, it's not bad, especially when you see that you get 12 shades. So let's take a look in the pan at these 12 shades. I am carefully holding it up because mine arrived broken, and that's going to come into play a little later for some of my concerns, actually. So first, let's carefully hold this up and take a gander at these 12 shades. I hope I said 12 before. That cost $55. So these 12 shades are very interesting. We have a bunch of matte shades and a bunch of metallic shades, and basically what the premise is behind the Primrose palette is very simple, and in a way it's not new, but it's done well. The premise of this palette is that you should use this on eyes, cheeks, highlighter for the face, lips, bronzer, everything. Now that isn't new. As I'll say later in this video, again, you could almost grab a good Pat McGrath palette and do that with it. You know, if it's pigmented powder, it's pigmented powder. So what's the difference here? Well, basically there are many shades of warm brown. So you can bronze with this rouge shade, you could bronze with this honey shade right here that my finger's on, you could bronze with this saddle shade. They're basically telling you that anyone can use this palette. You could highlight on your face with the rosewater shade, which is what I do in the demo. If you are of a deeper complexion, you can highlight with the fire opal shade. You can really do whatever you want. You can dot these onto your lips, which we will do today, and then of course you can use the entire palette on your eyes as well. Now there is a warning on the site that some of them are pressed pigments, and pressed pigments ideally, you know, aren't supposed to be used around the eyes, but you know, most of us do, but have fair warning for those that are pressed pigments. But for the rest, you can use them all over the face, and if you are not sensitive to those kind of things, you can use even the pressed pigments around the eyes as well. Why are these two shades bigger than the others? Well, I think that they figured these would be universal to most, either as a blush or a bronzer, or just use more in the crease for the eyes. They thought these would be the two most popular shades, so they gave us more of those. But there's all sorts of great shades in here, and I want to show you what they look like on the arm in two different lighting settings. So here they are in studio lighting, and I'm going to read the shade names to you, top row, bottom row, and then the two bigger ones on the side I will put last. So on the top row here, we have from left to right, Rosewater, Honey, Sparkling Amber, Primrose, the palette's namesake shade, Mango, followed underneath it by Peony, Rouge, there's that Fire Opal, Deep Berry, Claret, and then on the left and right there, or to the right of it there, is Grapefruit on the left, and then Saddle kind of at the very end there. Those are those two bigger shades. They're very pretty. Now, I am filming at night. Usually I go outside in the California sunshine, and there's no sunshine tonight. So I took you into a room in my home that has supposedly natural or whiter lighting. And it is a different view than the studio lighting. It was the best I could do filming at night. So take a look at it there, just to give you a better look at those shades, especially especially the kind of poppy metallic shades, you can really see better when it's out of studio light. That's just the way it is, to be honest with you. So do take a look at those there. They're really, really pretty. They don't swatch as well on the arm, but they apply beautifully to the face. On the arm, on the mattes, I did more than one pass, 3 passes on the mattes, to be honest with you, but on the face, they gave me no problems whatsoever. And there is a difference. You cannot judge a palette by its swatches, believe it or not. So this is a very, very interesting palette for that reason. The concept is really interesting. I find one drawback, and we will discuss that after the demo, but I want to come back with really just base product on my face, and we are going to put this from, you know, top to bottom, including the lips, so you can see what you think of the holiday offering from Anastasia Beverly Hills, the Primrose Palette. Stay right there. Okay, so I come to you right now with nothing on my face but base products and concealer, and my eyebrows are done. That's it. Let's take this palette and do the entire face with it. I have to be a little bit careful holding it up because mine is broken, as you know. We want to do eyes, we want to do bronzer, we're even going to do lips. I do actually have some lip pencil on, but we're going to, you know, we're going to add this. We're going to do what they say here. Let's start, let's bronze a little bit. Do you think the saddle would work to bronze on my skin? This could be bad. Let's see. Okay, it's not going to contour. This might be a little bit too warm. Let's try it. Okay. It's kind of like a blush, like a warmer blush. I can work with this, guys, believe it or not. I did it a little bit heavily right there. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's all right. We'll work it out. Okay. Now, let's do some sort of a blush. Then we'll do a highlight. Let's try this grapefruit as a blush. I'm assuming that the reason, and that's very powdery, but that's okay. The reason they gave us more of those is that we'll use more. And yeah, definitely. I mean, that is very, 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 I went in very, very, very heavy. Okay. I know I'm going to use my hands to blend a little bit here. We're just trying this all over the face. I'm just seeing, it kind of looks like this is the type of palette you're going to have to experiment with, as I said, based on your skin tone. So if you're lighter than me, you can use certain things as a bronzer, certain things as a blush, etc., etc. And if you're darker than me, you would use maybe this as your bronzer, this color right here, rouge. So it really kind of depends. I'll use rouge on my eyes. It looks like what they're really trying to do is make this inclusive palette that just really plays in no favorites and can be used everywhere. All right, let's see if we can maybe do a little bit of highlighting. Let's use this rose water maybe. Well, that's pretty. We want to put something kind of on the lips too. Okay, so that's kind of pretty as a highlight. Again, we're not breaking any rules here, or making any rules, I should say. I mean, obviously you can break open any old eye palette you want and just use it all over your face, you know. But to introduce it in this concept is kind of new and interesting. And this actually kind of works, really it does. It really does kind of work. Let me buff in that ridiculous amount of bronzer we had from earlier. It's not bad, it's kind of working. Okay, so now that we've got that down, let's look at the eyes. And I want to try some of this on the lips too. Actually, let's just take some of this peony color right here. That was this shade right here. It would be nice if I showed you, huh? And just put, I don't like shadow on the lips. I find it's drying. But that's not a bad look. You know, we're supposed to be using this over the whole face, so let's go with it. Okay. Not bad. So now I have a little bit more of complexion done. Let's start on the eyes. So I'm going to go into this shade right here, which is Honey. This is the second shade over, and it's just kind of a beigey color, and I'm just going to do the whole eyes. Now, for those of you with more fair skin, that could easily be a bronzer. You see the way they're doing that there. And I think that they made these two shades the biggest because they figure that would be for the most people and for the most transition shades. And, you know, I don't know. I really don't know what made the cut as bigger versus smaller, but basically they're just going to be used a little bit more. Okay, so that was Honey. And again, that could be a bronzer for some. Let's try Mango here. That's kind of also a very warm, this is a very warm and cool palette actually. It's kind of interesting that way. All right, so Now we just kind of have a really basic eye look, and but it brings the whole face together because you can tell that they're all kind of tied together with the same palette, and that gives it a kind of a really kind of a pretty tied together look. Okay, let's look at this claret shade. Let's see if we were to take this claret shade, which is this last shade here, which is kind of a burgundy color, and tap it off just a little bit, and just put a little bit here in the corner and a little bit underneath. Very pretty and very pulled together. This would be a great palette to travel with, except for one thing. I'll tell you that right now. Not only did it break on the way over, this wanted to break when I was swatching it. So this would be a great travel palette, except for the fact that it doesn't appear to be very travel friendly. And that, my friends, it might really be a bone of contention. I think this is going to end up being like some of my Marc Jacobs palettes. They wouldn't survive a plane ride. You know, that the shadows are so soft, which is a shame because this is beautiful. Maybe if you could depot it, which I hate doing, you know, put it in your own, I don't know. But look what a pretty look I'm getting, even pulling together with the lips, to be honest with you, over the new Melt lip liner that I was using. That's actually really pretty. Let's tie it together with this lip, and let's use that same peony color on the eye here. This is, you know what, I'm actually very impressed by this palette, but I'm saddened by the fact that I do not think you could really travel quite easily with it, and that really has to be spoken about. That is a shame. Okay, what if we go into rose water here? We used the rose water already to highlight on the face and just popped a little bit of it in. I didn't bring all my brushes over, so you can see I'm a little bit out of depth. I'm using the wrong brushes kind of, but that's okay. This is a very, very pretty look. Let me get some eyeliner and mascara on, and then let's talk about this palette critically and see what we think. Okay, I'm back. This is a lovely, lovely little palette, guys. Yes, it's nothing new under the sun. You could take a Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette and do everything we did here, I know. But I do like the fact that this is planned out around basically skin tone. So like I said, you can choose different shades as a bronzer, different shades as eyes, and of course, regardless of our skin tone, when we pull the same shades or shade family from the cheeks onto the eyes, we have a really pulled together look, and in this way I did it on the lips as well. So I really like the concept. Now it could just be that I had a broken palette. And as I said to you, Fire Rose arrived broken, and then a few of these kind of started to break, it felt like, when I was swatching them. Could just be the palette. I'll report back on that after I send them an email and see what they can do. I'm sure they're going to help me. It makes me feel like it might just be a tad too fragile for travel in this type of a case that just kind of has a little, you know, cardboardy case with a magnetic closure. It's a lovely little quilted case. It's beautiful, but it doesn't, I'm scared it's going to be one of those ones where if you stop too quickly at a stoplight, it could break, you know, those type of palettes. And like I said, it reminds me of the Marc Jacobs palettes. They're just too soft for their own good. So I don't know. I'll report back on that. It could just be that the palette itself got juggled and jiggled a little too much, but that would be my concern. The good thing about this is, I mean, this would work for makeup artists on the run. You know, if you had to do 5 different people, you could get so many different looks from so many different skin tones out of that. And that's really fun. And they're really just neutral, pretty, warm with a few pops of cool. It is a beautiful palette. They all performed really well. They didn't swatch as well as I would have liked on the arm, but I always warn you, be careful of really good swatches. They don't necessarily apply on the face that way, and these applied on the face just beautifully. I really had fun tying the eye highlight together with the cheek highlight. I mean, I'm really satisfied with the look and really pretty. We have some amazing holiday releases coming out this year. What do you think of this one? Do you think it was really just maybe my palette just had seen better days and that's why it shook my confidence in its travel ability? Let me know what your thoughts are and what you think of this palette, and if you had even heard it was being released. I am so curious to hear your thoughts. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I sure hope that you did. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.